So welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Doug and Steve and Expedient. Um, I want to start, we all know that the world is changing dramatically. I heard on the way here, Amazon's now predicting major hiring reductions for entry-level people. And we kind of wonder now, if we don't have entry-level people, who's going to get promoted to do the next level work. And so part of this, actually the 7 Mindsets came out of a research project I did with some PhD colleagues, and was initially published in a book, Leadership 2050. So a few years ago, we were looking at how do leaders show up in the world that is changing. And COVID was a great punctuation point for that, because leaders who were exceptional pre-COVID build the plan, work the plan, everything kind of goes off the rails a little bit, but not terribly. And then we got into COVID, and what we saw was a lot of people who were exceptional leaders in the world where it was possible to build a plan and work the plan were not exceptional, had never been trained to navigate the volume of change we're facing now. So I worked actually after that, with Neil Sahota, who is one of the co-founders of AI for Good with the UN. He helped with our latest book, Innovative Leadership and Followership in the Age of AI. And we've carried this mindsets through as we think about, again, if my mindset drives my behavior, what do I need to do as a leader to be effective in this evolving world? And so I believe the mindsets help capture that. It's certainly not everything, but it is a foundation. So Maureen, Metcalf, I grew up in PricewaterhouseCoopers and Accenture, so large organizational change. Helped implement one of the first for Accenture, one of the first ERP systems, so that kind of dates me, but have been around the world of technology, human change, and leadership for decades. Started Innovative Leadership Institute when I left Accenture with the question, we are brilliant at implementing systems, and yet organizations still aren't getting the business value they justified the system with. What's missing? And in my view, it's leadership, and it's also an alignment between systems we're implementing, cultures, behaviors, and the values of the leader. And as a consultant, I was always hired to help put the system in. I was never hired to realign the culture, we realigned human behavior in sit down, do the thing that the system does. We didn't realign human behavior in a more cohesive way. And so the mindsets are really intended to get underneath that. So here are just some of the clients and organizations I've worked with. For anyone who's been in my classes or follows me on LinkedIn, I also contribute to Forbes and have for a number of years now. And my why is about the idea that as leaders, we're co-creating the world we live in and the world that our next generations will inherit. And frankly, they're going to be taking care of us when we're old, so we should take care of them now. So basically today we're going to go through the 7 mindsets. It's a short presentation, so we won't be experts at them, but I do have an assessment, probably you'll take it after, for those who haven't taken it, and think about where, as you're watching the little video, where do you fall on that continua, and where do you need to be effective? And I would say there are places where I fall short, but they're also less important. So the biggest gap isn't necessarily the driver, it's what is the most important mindset for me to be effective now? So this is almost a given, but I say it anyway. Every industry on the planet is changing. If we look at some of the stats, we're going to have 20,000 times the amount of change in the next century as we had the last century. So we went from horses to people living on space stations. What's dramatically more than that? And for me, through the leadership lens, it's volatility. Humans weren't designed to metabolize this level of change. And so how do we steward the organizations we work within and our families and our own lives in a way that allows us to actually lead? Because it's hard to lead when we're overwhelmed. So I'm curious, folks in the room, what are you facing? What changes? Yeah.
Resistance to change. So we have an older organization. It's been around for 50 years. A lot of people have been there 20, 30 years. And the previous IT directors were very old school style, and they were like anti-cloud and anti-upgrading. And it was kind of weird for an IT person to be like that. But when I came on board, I was like, well, we need to update some things. We have a lot of really not even supported technology anymore. And a lot of people are dragging their feet, kicking and screaming, why are you making so many changes? You're making things hard for us. And it's an organization of a lot of social workers as well. So people who really technology isn't their thing. So that's one of my biggest challenges.
Okay. And as you start to consider AI, that's probably going to amplify.
Yeah, a lot of people just, at my organization, just pretend like it doesn't even exist at this point.
Steve.
Rate of change and rate of learning right now, the amount of learning that we have to do I was to face it, this is a leadership development program for IT professionals and aspiring IT leaders. The amount of learning that we have to do in our regular job with the vast amount of changes that are coming is certainly a challenge. There's no doubt about it. You could be the best